check.
Hello. Hey, Matt. Okay.
There were some points where Philippe got a little excited.
Dude, Philippe's a talker. Cut this out.
No, it's all good. We can chat a little bit more. It's fine.
Love that guy.
Cool. Yeah, all right, let's do it.
All right.
So this one we don't have anything recorded for yet, right?
Nothing, yeah. And it's a very specific sort of vibe he's got to get. So I think getting him in the right headspace for it is going to be huge. And throughout all of this, when he gets really toast, he just comes in here, kills the lights, and lays on the floor for a little bit. So I might have him do it that way. So, hey, your yoga mat? You don't. We'll get it? Why?
Why?
I feel like this has kind of been your, whenever you're fucking fried and you need to take 5 minutes, you just come in here and just lay on the floor in the dark.
It's true.
I think I'm gonna want you to try it like that.
Okay, cool.
You want to do it on the carpet? You want to do it on your yoga mat?
I'll go grab my yoga mat.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The old yoga mat. Wheaton's big. I was just seeing if he was going to be in there or take off.
Oh, no, yeah, gotcha.
How's the lights for you? You want them a little darker?
They feel good, dude. No, they feel good. All right, let's do a take and assess from there.
Yeah, I mean, take your time with it. If it's not feeling right, just start over. I'm just going to let it roll. If Pro Tools decides to be a fucking nightmare, I'll let you know. But
Okay.
outside of that, just take some time to yourself.
Cool. When I return to my bed, my body spread out in the air, with fingers like roots on a seed, tears of my brothers watering me. Will we float up into space? Our bodies shot up on a vertical interstate. Could we still stop for a snack? Cosmic highways, gas station off-ramps. So take all the time that you want. Whiskey with John in the fall. And take my desire to know. And break my false sense of control.
great to be back, to be able to take time away from, being back home and writing a new record and recording a new record.
Yeah, we've done a lot up here. It's great. I mean, location's awesome. This feels homey. This feels good.
Yeah, I love it here. I actually have super funny memory here. We did the live session for 4th of July here, and they have a keg at the bar. They definitely don't clean the lines of that keg, though. So I was drinking beer out of probably a filthy, weird, fungusy keg line. And I had to stop like 3 times on the way home from doing the 4th of July to throw up on the side of the highway because I was like so sick, dude.
This is my first time here, but it was really great because we decided to go back with Kevin.
Kev.
My name's Kevin. I am co-producing, engineering the Valleyheart record up here at the Halo studio in Windham, Maine. Funny enough, it came up on my Facebook memories that 5 years ago, 2 days ago, was the first show I ever saw Valleyheart at in Portland, and talked to him and convinced him to come like cut a single here, and then been off to the races ever since.
Yeah, we're really excited to be back and working with Kevin again. Every time we work with him, we get more comfortable, and you build that trust that is necessary in any creative process, whether it's with yourself or with band members or with the producer or engineer. And with Kev, I think we've planted those seeds, and I really feel like this time around we're like really starting to see the fruit of that, and those years of trust and making mistakes and the wins and all that stuff.
It's not like any other record that I do or any other band that I work with, where they are so much more involved in the process than other bands who might just be like, these are my riffs, these are my drum parts. If we can make them better, sick, then go from there. So it's a lot more of a collaborative process than me just being Papa Bear and just running the shit. Punching the ending, the rest of that was great.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds
Tone-wise.
Make sure you smack that hammer on when you do that.
Okay.
Not nice.
We had time. I think the pandemic kind of gave us time to like really get in and like write the stuff and really take our time with being intentional about certain sounds, and that was really cool. Just being able to like have a very long writing process, and it's like there's no shows going on, so we're not like practicing to like play a show. Just getting together and writing, and that process was amazing. I think in the middle of the pandemic, being able to like still kind of get together with some dudes and just like jam was like therapy, which is great. And then also having like tons of time in the studio. Like we've never had, I mean, we're here for 3 weeks and then we have another week somewhere else. Like that's just so much time. Like we're used to being like, all right, got to get 12 songs done, 2 weeks, that's it.
It's been really cool this time around to just be here and to be creative, and we've had a lot more time than we usually have to spend on working on certain parts and kind of conceptualizing things. And for me, that has been like a game changer with kind of lyrical content, not feeling like I need to come in with everything set, but really let there be space for kind of new ideas and sort of new imagery. And we're kind of halfway through it right now, but it's been really cool to see even at this point. And we're really excited, I think, with what we're getting and what people are going to hear from it.
Peppermint, the best stuff.
There's 2 phones connected, neither of them are mine. Here, let's supply the vibes.
Please.
Oh, you got it hooked up.
Yeah.
I'll show you the soundtrack. The soundtrack for yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, lights, camera, action.
It's all good.
Yeah. Holy cat.
So we actually had this thought. Actually, I think it was Kev's idea.
that in an alternate universe, Enya could have done the Titanic soundtrack.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah.
that's kind of where my mind's at.
Yep. Just seeing Jack Dawson in my mind. And he's alive and he's well.
That's right. Could have been a totally different outcome.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of opened the whole multiverse conversation.
Yeah.
You know, a world where Jack Dawson lives, a world where Enya does the soundtrack.
An end to new beginnings.
Beginning to new ends. Not bad? Alright, cool. Always look both ways. My bud.
I think Philippe is the only, aside from Kev, the only member who I have worked with before in this capacity. Zach I never worked with before. So it was a little bit of a learning curve just in the, you know, when you record somebody, there's a little bit of psychology that goes into it, especially drummers and singers. The way you kind of like keep them in a headspace is very specific and very different than guitarists or bass players. But it was great. He's a super, incredibly talented drummer, good kid, and yeah, he finished way ahead of schedule. Like he cruised through everything way faster than we thought.
I've known the guys for a while. You know, we've all been friends through the music, you know, scene in Salem for quite a bit. It started off with, I was just cutting some drums with Kev for like some solo stuff. Probably like a couple years ago now. And some of the songs on the record we were actually jamming at the time and like had no idea where they would end up.
Do you think by the time the record's out, you'll still have the bullet?
That's like the dying question like everyone has to know. I think so, yeah. And I knew this was gonna come up too. So I prepared something for this, right? It's the quarantine flow, you know? So it was like it got to a certain point where I didn't want it to go to waste. I tried it out and it's served me well. It got me through the recording of this record, so it's been good.
Got you the gig.
Yeah, it really did, dude. Yeah, you don't know what I had to go through.
And then as far as Chris goes, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only time I tracked him was on the 4th of July cover.
Yeah. I was like so sick, dude.
So this was like the most involved it's ever been with him. And it warmed my heart to see a kid as talented as him like thank me after he was done, because he said he learned a lot. And I didn't really feel like I taught him anything. Like he came in and burned it down, and he's not one of these musicians with an ego like I have to play it like this. I'm the bass player. He was just like, Kev, you're better at this. You do it. And then he took it for the next one.
Dude, yeah, it didn't feel like anything until like 5 minutes ago. Until I actually finished the bass, and I was like, oh, dude. Yes. Yeah, because I saved my favorite one for last, which is the one that I actually wrote everything for. And Kevin was like, you don't have to just do what you do and you jam. I'm like, yeah. So I just got to pretty much do all that in like one take, and that was super fun. So that was the last one we did. I'm loving it.
I've been listening to like a lot of like 90s, early 2000s, you know, alternative rock. Rogue Wave's a big one for me. Not a Surf. Yeah, just like, I mean, my drum style is pretty laid back. I would say pretty much minimalist. So like a lot of that really chill stuff, like let the song ring out and just kind of do your thing and then back, you know, 4 on the floor.
We're all in our mid-20s and we're all feeling a little of that, you know, early 2000s nostalgia that seems to be going around. And, you know, it'd be a lie to say that there isn't, you know, I think we grew up on a lot of early, you know, kind of piano rock.
Pretend you're at youth group. You're like 7th grade at youth group, and you're listening to the new like Kelly Clarkson song that just came out. Like, obviously, we didn't portray that in our songs, but that was kind of our vibe.
And like, you know, like stuff that looking back is kind of like funny, but a lot of that stuff feels very real, and it feels very formative, and it feels very close to childhood. And there are some themes of childhood on this record, and to sort of lean into that influence felt not just to be like, oh, we're pulling on a nostalgia trick here, but it felt appropriate to the feelings and emotions we're writing about and linking those things together, right? So I think there is definitely this sort of like alternative, adult contemporary, piano rock vibe on this record for some of the stuff, but obviously incorporated with what we do and what we, loud rock music. So it's been fun to kind of throw two things at a wall and see what color they make.
In this record, it was letting go of that fear of, it's trying to be so different from your influences, where this, like, we really, like, leaned into it. Like, there are some tracks where the influencers, like, they're very obvious, and it's a lot of the stuff that you're like, oh, this is like a guilty pleasure influence, and instead of being like, nah, like, I don't like Hillary Duff, you can be like, no, these songs are sick. So, like, if we were tracking something that felt like, oh, is this weird? It was like, well, do you like it? And if yes, just lean into it.
Last year, during the pandemic, right before it all happened, I was in South America, and I ended up getting stuck in South America for a month. And a lot of this record was written in that period. That seems like a blur for, I think, most of us. But looking back, was a very, very refining time of self-reflection and understanding. We all had, I think, really kind of deep stuff to face. We didn't have the distraction. We had the time, and we had so much going on. So a lot of music came from that. A lot of hard conversations came from that. A lot of self-realization and ways to look at myself, which with our last album was a big topic, but was never one I intended to dive in on specifically for every record. But I think on this record, it's definitely reflecting, but in a more subtle and more nuanced way that I think allows people to see how it grows rather than just repeating the same story.
I think the people that liked Everyone I've Ever Loved are going to also like this record because it still sounds like Valleyheart, but lyrically it's going to open up a new phase for Valleyheart. That's kind of what I think. Like, my favorite song on this record is called Miracle. That song in a nutshell is what goes so perfectly after Everyone I've Ever Loved.
And all I am is a miracle. All I am is a miracle. But I can't just let time pass me by. It's all I need.
Let's get a harmony going.
I want a major third. Give me a major third.
Major thirst.
That wouldn't be a bad.
This band, I feel like, has come in very, like, hardened phases, and in a good way. Like, Nowadays was that, I don't want to say angsty, but kind of like energetic, and Everyone I've Ever Loved was just like a thematic, story from front to back, which had a completely different vibe, like a little darker at times, but still had a bit of those heavier elements. Scenery, I don't even know the word to describe it. Like, it got a little weirder, a little like more quirky. And what I like about this record is that if somebody fell in love with Nowadays, like, they're going to be hyped on this. If somebody fell in love with Everyone I've Ever Loved, they're going to be hyped on this. Scenery, same thing. And what I like that they're also doing is going beyond that, and they're not just sticking to, this is a Nowadays song, this is a Scenery song, this is an Everyone I've Ever Loved song. There's like this gel that kind of flows in between them. It just shows me that they're growing and just doing more of what they're good at.
It's been a lot of fun. This is our first show back, so thanks again for coming out and bringing us to your home.
sounds dumb. Like I'm 28, going on 29, but it feels like we're getting old, and that's a good thing. Like Kevin and I were talking about it the other day, and something that comes up a lot is like intentionality, being present, like, and how big that is. And I think as you get older, like, you need to be intentional about the things you do. Like you don't have the time to just like waste. So I think that one big thing for this album, for me specifically, and I think it translates lyrically as well, is just like intentionality. I rather have a song that people feel than a song that people hear. And that feels like the concept of the album overall is this idea of like presence, like being present, intentionality.
We saw an opportunity to take our time with writing and not having to worry about touring or playing shows or all these other elements that kind of are innately in a band structure. We were just like, we're gonna take time and let it be our therapy, our distraction, our outlet, And it was a weird moment of, wow, this feels a little bit like what it felt like when I first started writing music. Like, there was no pressure. The more you do this thing for a while, music in any capacity, the highs are highs, but the lows can be lows, and it can become a process where you start questioning and you start kind of asking why am I doing this, And man, I feel so grateful, but to say that this record has really felt like an answer to that question.
I've been in and out of Valleyheart due to like responsibilities and stuff like that, and kind of always worked my way back in, and there's this feeling of like this could go away, and I feel that more than ever right now. It's like this thing might, for me, like it might go away one day, so like I'm here now, so like let's just be here now and like go all out,
And we had a moment the other night where we were all kind of listening back to the board mixes and had like a really cheesy conversation of like, man, this sounds, we're pumped on it. Like, whether people like it or not, like that's tomorrow's problem, but like we won. Like this is it. Like we did it. Like we went, we were going for it, and to succeed together in that goal is really exciting.